So which equation which type of a reaction is represented by the equation shown? This equation is representing why precipitation, because two solutions are mixed, like this is one solution, aqueous, aqueous, this is another solution, and it form a solid. When two solutions form a solid, what we call this type of reaction, we call precipitation reaction, PPT. X and Y are the atoms. X and Y have a same number of electron shells. So when they have same number of electron shells, it means they belongs to the same period. Because same number of electron shells means same period they should belongs to, because element in the same period, they have the same number of electron shells. X and Y have the same number of outer electrons. So they have the same number of outer shell electrons as well. Uh, no, X and Y have the same number of electron shells. If they have the same number of electron shells, what does it mean? It means they should be in the same period. Like if I say this has two shells, this is also having two shells. So according to this information, they should be in the same period, same line in the periodic table. How both of them same group? Because they can be isotope. Because if I have an isotope, isotopes have the same number of electron shell, same number of electron in the outer shell, but they will have different masses. And they will have the same chemical property. So X and Y might be isotope of the same element. Like let's say element A is there, element A might have two isotopes. It might be X or might be Y. So if there are isotope, they will have the same number of shells, same number of electron in the last shell. So they have the same number of outer shell electrons. So this give an idea that they are the same atoms as well. And they have different masses. So give an idea they are isotopes. Which statement about X and Y are correct? X and Y are isotopes. So this matches with this is a description of an isotope. X and Y have the same total number of electrons. That's also right. Because they have the same number of electrons, they should have the same number of total, like same number of outer shell electrons. So total number of electrons should also be same. And they have the same chemical properties. Because they have the same number of outer shell electrons, so it means they should have the same chemical properties as well. So all three statements are correct. So the X and Y are actually isotope of the same element. The structure of a ethene is shown. How many hydrogen atoms and how many carbon atoms are in 1 mole of ethene? So we have 1 mole of ethene which contain 2 carbon and it contains 4 hydrogen. So what is the ratio if I want the number of the carbon? So what is the ratio between the carbon and the hydrogen? The ratio is 1 is to, carbon and the ethene. Ratio is 1 is to 2. Like one molecule contain 2. So if I have 1 mole, it contains 2 moles of a carbon. And how many total will be there? The carbon atoms. So I'll multiply by Avogadro's constant 6.02 exponent 23. So 2 multiplied by 6.02 exponent 23. So I'll get 12 exponent 24 or 1.2 exponent 24. So number of the carbon will be 1.2 into 10 to the power 24. And how many hydrogen atoms are there? What is the ratio? One molecule contains 4 hydrogen atoms. So ratio is 1 is to 4. So 1 mole, in the question they ask 1 mole. So 1 mole will have 4 moles of a hydrogen, and then we'll multiply by Avogadro's constant 6.02 exponent 23. So 4 multiplied by 6.02 exponent 23, what we will get? We'll get 2.4 exponent 24. So 1.2 exponent 24 will be the carbon atoms and 2.4 exponent 24 will be the hydrogen atoms. Is it clear? It's a similar question about that the magnesium chloride one. Yes, I will repeat. Look, in the question, they ask how many hydrogen atoms and how many carbon atoms in a 1 mole of ethene. So if I have 1 mole of a ethene, which is C2NH4, how many carbon atoms are present? It contains two carbon atoms. So one molecule contains two atoms, and we need 1 mole. So definitely 1 mole contains 2 moles of atoms. So we got 2 moles of carbon atom and then multiply by Avogadro's to know the number of the particles. So when we multiply, we got 1.2 exponent 24. How about hydrogen? One molecule contain how many hydrogen? 4 hydrogen. So ratio is 1:4. So if I have 1 mole, I will have 4 moles of hydrogen. And 4 moles of hydrogen, how many particles will be there? 6.02 exponent 23. I'll multiply. So what I will get? I will get 2.4 exponent 24. You can also solve this question by, let's say a similar question is there. Instead of ethene, you have methane, CH4. So if I say how many moles, how many atoms of a carbon and a hydrogen in 1 mole of a methane. So you will take a ratio of a methane and the carbon. According to that, one molecule will contain one carbon. So 1 mole will contain one carbon. And one carbon multiplied by Avogadro's constant 6.02 exponent 23. So the number of the carbon will be 6.02 exponent 23. And what about the number of the hydrogen? One molecule of a methane contains 4 hydrogen. So ratio is 1:4. So 4, it will be multiplied by 6.02 exponent 23. So we got 2.4 exponent 24. And if this was instead of 1 mole, let's say the question was about 2 moles. How to solve? The same way you will solve, but the ratio now you will take for 2. One molecule, 1 mole contains 4 hydrogen atoms. So ratio is 1:4. But if 2 moles are there, how many hydrogen atom? X cross multiply. So how many hydrogen atoms? You will get 8. And this 8 you will multiply by Avogadro's constant 6.02 exponent 23. So you will know the number of hydrogen atom. Same thing for a carbon. If you have C2H4 and the carbon, the ratio is 1:2. So if you have 2 moles, how many carbon will be there? X cross multiply. So you will get 4 moles of the carbon and multiply by Avogadro's constant 6.02 exponent 23. If the question was about 2, but here the question is only for 1 mole of ethane. That's why we just took the ratio for 1. Ammonium iron 3 citrate contain in its formula more than one ammonium ion, one iron ion, and 2 C4H5O7. What is the formula? Look, if we have two positive ions are there and one negative ion, this is a citrate ion with a valency of -4. What I will do, I will write a formula for ammonium with citrate and I will write a formula for iron with citrate and I will simply add them. If I want to write a formula for ammonium with citrate, ammonium is NH4 with a charge +1 and a citrate ion is given here to us, which is C6H4O7 with a charge 4-. What I will do, I will cross multiply. This 4 is like the valencies are not same. This 4 will be multiplied here and 1 is multiplied here. So the formula with ammonium will be NH4 in a bracket 4 C6H4O7 because it's 1, so we don't have to write. That is the formula of the compound with ammonium. Then this same is present, the same ion is present in iron with iron 3. So if the same ion is present in iron 3, iron is +3 or 3+, and we have C6H4O7 with a charge 4-. So what we'll do, we cross multiply because the valencies are not same. So this 4 will be multiplied here, 3 will be multiplied here. So what is the formula? It will be Fe4 The formula will be Fe4. This is one way of doing the question. It is Fe4 C6H4O7 and then a bracket 3 will be there. Now, when I add these two, like I have got two formulas. One of the formula is this and the other formula is this. Because iron is there, as this ion contain iron 3 ion, Fe3 ion. It also contain iron 3 ion. It also contain